Yes, restrictions on movements is a cause for concern, and there are violations of the court. But I do that at the bottom of this, and yet somehow needs to be included in dialogue between the two sides to sit down and see what are the main issues beyond the personalities, beyond all cannot either points where.
But let me ask you a very straightforward question. Political entities that they lead, do you please maintain is an incredibly high?
Christian Schmidt there. Moving on, 14 heads of state have confirmed they will attend details.
The swearing-in ceremony for President-elect Yoweri Museveni is slated for 12th May at Kololo Ceremonial Ground in Kampala. The Ministry for Presidents is in charge of organizing the event. The Minister in charge of the presidency, Frank Tumwebaze, confirmed to the media this morning that 14 heads of state have confirmed attendance.
Government of Uganda has invited and expects a number of heads of state, including those from South Africa, Kingdom of Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Southern Sudan, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Swaziland, China, Nigeria, and the Russian Federation.
Rwanda, China, Japan, and Germany are expected to send representatives. Tumwebaze outlined the day's program, which begins at 7 a.m.
Our theme for swearing in, we didn't just choose it for the sake of it. The swearing in ceremony will begin with Chairman Electoral Commission Dr. Engineer Badru Chigundu inviting and introducing to the public the President-elect through reading a proclamation. He will then invite the Chief Justice, His Lordship Bat Mugunda Katurebe, to administer the oath of allegiance and the President.
Candidates have also.
This function is going to be happening on Thursday for the.
I think we are moving quite well. The soldiers are basically ready. Tomorrow we'll have our last rehearsal, and we're hoping that we'll be joined by a fly past, so that these jets that you've been seeing around will be part of the ceremonies. This will be a grand parade. Well, basically this is a guard of honor. We are honoring the president-elect, and we'll be performing ceremonies when he's being given the instruments of power, because that's what the ceremonies are. And among the things that he will be receiving, as you know, will be the Constitution of Uganda, the key to the State House, and the national colors, the national flag. And all these will be accompanied by pomp and ceremony.
Heavy rains have paralyzed transport between Masaka and Sembabule districts after a section of the Sembabule-Masaka road was submerged in floods. The road is part of the 38-kilometer stretch now under construction.
The heavy downpour in Greater Masaka has left Nabajuzi and Choga swamps flooded. This has paralyzed transport on the Sembabule-Masaka highway as the road is submerged around the swamps. Residents in this area say they can no longer transact business with ease since this is the nearest route connecting the two districts. Service provision in the two districts has also been severely affected because vital facilities like hospitals are inaccessible. Construction of the road began in September 2015.
To some news now that's coming in from court. The Anti-Corruption Court has ruled that 3 former Ministry of Public Service employees, Jimmy Rwamafa, Stephen Chwanuka Kunsa and Christopher Obey, have a case to answer and should prepare their defense by 18th May 2016. Justice Lawrence Gidudu made the ruling basing on prosecution evidence that proved that PS Rwamafa, together with Commissioner Compensation Department Kunsa and Principal Accountant Obey, indeed budgeted, requisitioned, spent and accounted for 88 billion shillings as NSSF contribution, well knowing that public servants are exempted from contributing to the fund. They are to defend themselves on 10 counts that include causing financial loss, abuse of office, corruption, false accounting, conspiracy to defraud and diversion of public resources. But they have since denied the charges and are currently being tried while on remand from Luzira prison. Justice Gidudu noted that pension funds are budgeted and paid for through a process and not an event, meaning that the money in question was discussed internally, then defended in Parliament to ensure that only genuine people are paid. So the accused persons must explain to court why the same was paid to persons unknown to the ministry. When asked by court which option they are going to use in giving their defense, they all said they will give their testimonies on oath. This means that prosecution will also have a chance to cross-examine them on what they are preparing to tell court. To some not so good news now, a mother and her child have been shot dead in the Mayongo district by a bullet from an elderly man's gun that was being used to treat the child's stomach complication. The outcome of the bizarre treatment left scores of people in Buyinja sub-county in grief. The businessman is a 90-year-old man called Otieno Genatio. He was using his licensed gun to carry out the treatment. He has been arrested and detained at Namayingo police station.
Kati ekiguddewo waliwo ekikanga ekiguddewo nga kisinzira waliwo muzeeyi bamuyita muzeeyi Ginatio Otieno. Kati afunyemu ekizibu, waliwo baleese omwana wali ayagala kumugyamu eyima. Kati emundu ebaddemu ng'erimu amasasi nga yeerabiddemu. Kati okugira nga akuba empo, kati esasi ne likuba omwana ne maama we ne bafa. Babadde bajjangawo ku ebiseera ebiranga bajjawo ng'abayamba ng'ajjanjabangako abaana era ne babeera bulungi, naye ng'ekizibu ekyo nga tekibeerangawo. Naye kati ye muzeeyi mwenyini agambe nti abaddemuko nga mulwadde, nga kati bano ne bajja obudde nga bugenda okupya ne bamusitusamu ng'ava mu tulo. Kati ndooza emyaka nga bwegiri nti emyaka nagyo alina emyaka nga 9 zigenda enza okwekanga ng'akubye omwana oluse.
Disturbing news there. The principal judge, Yorokamba Mwini, has launched an alternative method of dealing with civil proceedings in Kitgum district, known as a small claims procedure. The procedure involves settling civil cases of less than 10 million shillings. It is aimed at reducing case backlog. Justice Bamwine told the locals that access to justice should not be perceived as a thing for the rich. We have more.
People say when you are a poor person, you can't win a case in court. That justice is for the rich and not the poor. But look at these paralegals giving free advice.
It's designed to be a simple, very simple, not complicated and cheap access to justice initiative. So people who have claims, these are civil claims, less than 10 million shillings, can go to court and get justice, get a court judgment from 1 day to a maximum of 30 days.
Let's take a break now, but NTV at 1 returns shortly. Do stay with us.
Using a university to go, consider pay. Uganda Christian University campus is world. Download an application form on www.ucu.ac.ug or call 0794-770-826 today. Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa.
Fanta feel Fanta food blast. Fanta.
Wow!
Fanta.
Amazing!
Fanta food blast. Fanta. Tasty Fanta. Fanta. Fanta fruit blast. Fanta. Tasty Fanta. Fanta. Tasty Fanta.
What an amazing taste!
AfriCell, you can pay much less than both of them. With the Tokota 500 bundle, you pay less than half a shilling per second.
What?
Yes, less than half a shilling per second. All you have to do is dial *134# and select Tokota from the king of the bundles.
Only on AfriCell.
Brave woman. Why did you do it, Mom?
Oh, Celso.
Mom, I don't understand. How could you even do this?
Go there right now, Barros. Go there now. Bye.
What is it?
The pieces are falling into place.
Me? What did I do?
What is it?
We did it.
Finally, Russo.
They just called to tell me about it.
Awesome.
Welcome back to NTV at 1. To Health Focus now, a vaginal ring embedded with an ARV called dapivirine can help women reduce chances of HIV infection by 31% or even up to 65% when well adhered to. This according to findings of an ongoing study by the International Partnership for Microbicides (IPM). In Uganda, the study is being carried out by the Medical Research Council Uganda Virus Research Institute. It's a clinical trial to find out whether a dapivirine vaginal ring is safe and effective in helping women prevent HIV. If enrolled, its exponents hope this ring could give women who carry the biggest burden of HIV hope in the fight against the scourge.
Health Focus is brought to you by
This ring may look like the usual contraceptive, but it is not. It is called the dapivirine ring, one under study to find out its safety and efficiency in preventing HIV infections in women.
So dapivirine is an antiretroviral drug. So these act by stopping the replication of the virus.
The ring falls under microbicides, compounds that can be applied inside the vagina or rectum to protect against sexually transmitted infections, as Dr. Stella Kusemererwa, a scientist at Medical Research Council, explains.
They got this drug, dapivirine, and put it in a ring so that it is easily delivered into the genital tract so that it can act at that point to prevent someone from getting HIV.
The dapivirine ring study was started in 2012. Medical Research Council is one of the study centers in Africa. They enrolled a total of 197 women between the ages of 18 and 45 in Masaka and the neighborhood onto the study in 2013.
We found women who are at risk of getting HIV along the Trans-African Highway. So there's a lot of high-risk activity going on there. You have truck drivers, you have commercial sex work going on, you have all these high-risk activities, including fishing communities that are around.
38-year-old Rosna Kabugo, a resident of Liantonde, is one of the women who participated in this study.
Engejje batugamba nti akakaweta kagenda tuyamba nga ffe abakyala singa weegatta n'omusajja nga tayambadde kondomu tikasobola okutuyamba singa bayina akawuka tikasobola kukwata kozesezza ku kondomu y'abakyala nga yo mutuufu yatulemba obanze yannema nekimpaliriza nnyo nyingire mu kunoonyereza okwo.
Most of the infections in sub-Saharan Africa are occurring among women. 60% of the burden is among women, and especially the young women. And even if we look at Uganda, most of the people who have HIV are the women, with our prevalence at 8.3 compared to the national one that is 7.3%.
In one of their conjugal encounters, Nakabugo's partner Moses Biarhanga realized something unusual and demanded to know what it was.
Kaina soka ninkayana newe natuula nendowooza nengamba ffe tutambula nnyo singa aba akoze ensobi yonna n'atakola ki n'asobola obutaleeta kizibu waka eky'obulwadde ng'ate kirabika nga tibuliiwo.
According to Dr. Kusemererwa, the dapivirine ring is one of the HIV prevention measures specifically designed to help women who bear the biggest burden of the disease fight it.
The male condom at the moment is mainly initiated or has to be used by the man in order for the woman to benefit. If the man does not use it, then the woman is not protected. If we think about the female condom, it's available, but the uptake is not as good as we expected.
The ring, embedded with 25 milligrams of the dapivirine ARV, can be self-inserted by the woman. It is meant to be worn and changed every 28 days.
Folds it into a figure 8 and then pushes it into her vagina. So this ring actually goes and sits inside the vagina around the cervix. We have some spaces there that can be able to hold this ring. So with the muscles in place, the ring is able to be held.
So how exactly does this dapivirine ring work?
So once it's put in place, then the drug starts to be released and it goes into the genitals. And most of it concentrates within what we call the mucosa of the vagina. Very little of it goes into the bloodstream.
Dr. Kusemererwa says the efficacy of this ring in preventing HIV acquired in ways other than vaginal sex is very low.
So this would not work if you're having rectal or anal sex. This would not work if you get a finger prick or whatever. This would not work for treatment. So this is for anyone who is HIV negative.
Regarding of whether one has sex or not, the drug will be released from the ring to the body slowly within the 28 days.
So even every month they were reviewed by a doctor and would even check in the vagina to see if there are any problems that have been caused by the ring or any other effects.
This February, 2 years of the study running, Medical Research Council released its first findings.
The ring was able to reduce HIV infections by 31%. So with increased adherence, your protection increases to 65%. For the women who are older than 21 years, the ring also worked better for them. We also found that the ring was safe to use.
There are some concerns raised by the public.
One of the other things someone would worry about is if resistance would actually happen, because for those who become HIV positive, they're taken off the ring and then we monitor and see what happens. And we found that the dapivirine ring does not increase the chance of someone getting resistance to ARVs.
The dapivirine ring was also found to have some side effects.
At the point of insertion, someone may get itching or burning, or they may end up with pain. Some of the pain is in the lower abdomen. Some may end up with bleeding or spotting.
This study is still ongoing. At this stage, the researchers are seeking regulatory approval. Once approved, Dr. Kusemererwa says this ring will be made available to women in some countries for use. The ring, manufactured in Sweden, currently costs $5, an equivalent of about 17,000 Ugandan shillings.
Nandyagadde nnyo gavumenti ekiteekemu amaanyi. Akaweta kano kajje buli mukyala akafune. kubanga ffe nga ffe abakyala okwesalirawo kwaffe kutono.
The researchers are currently engaging the Ministry of Health to use the ring as a preventive measure against the scourge. Gertrude Tumusime with Kwade, NTV.
Let's now take a look at what's happening on the international scene. A popular mayor has emerged as the front runner for the president in the Philippines race. And Greece approves tax overhaul amid austerity protests. Details of these stories in our international news wrap.
Voting for a new Philippines president is underway, with a brash challenger to the political establishment, Rodrigo Duterte, mayor of the southern city of Davao, emerging as the favorite to win after campaigning on pledges to crush crime and corruption. Many voters in the capital Manila had to line up in blazing sunshine for more than an hour to cast their votes on Monday, and there were several reports of electronic voting machine hitches, which could dash the Election Commission's hope to declare a victor in 24 hours. The election campaign exposed widespread disgust with the Southeastern Asian country's ruling elite for failing to tackle poverty and inequality despite years of robust economic growth. More than half of the population of 100 million people are registered to vote in the election to choose the president, vice president, 300 lawmakers and about 18,000 local government officials. Elsewhere, Parliament in Greece has approved a controversial overhaul of taxes and pensions despite mass rallies against the measures. Police said almost 18,000 people turned up in Athens and about 8,000 in Thessaloniki on Sunday against the changes demanded by the European Union and the International Monetary Fund that the government approved in the lead-up to a crucial meeting of Eurozone creditors in Brussels. Security forces fired tear gas to disperse petrol bomb-throwing protesters in Athens. The reform aims to reduce Greece's highest pension payouts, merge several pension funds, increase contributions and raise taxes for those on medium and high incomes. Greece's budget deficit has expanded as it struggles to keep up with debt payments, which the IMF believes is unsustainable.
There was a motor rally in Masaka and there was an accident too, Dr. Ashraf Semogere. Let's take a look at those pictures. Dr. Ashraf Muhammad. We understand the injuries to Dr. Ashraf were not so severe. He's undergoing treatment. And that's it for today's edition of NTV at 1. Thank you for joining us. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Good afternoon.
NTV, turning on your world.
About Town
Is brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now.
Hello 256, it's your girl Mariam K and this is About Town News. Well, first up, the rich gang boss, also known as Ivan Semwanga, has been implicated in a water theft scandal. National Water Sewerage Corporation raided his residence following a tip-off where they unearthed an illegal water connection.
Yeah, but whenever we're in a place, that's what happens.
Having officially launched her Kansime Foundation after her one-woman show, the Queen of Comedy, Anne Kansime, has now landed an ambassadorial role in Save the Children. With this role, Anne Kansime will spearhead their Every Last Child campaign. Kansime did not share the nitty-gritties about the deal, however, shared a profile about what it seems like the Moyo singer Maurice Curia is out of his slumber and is ready to come hold a live concert in July.